Welcome to Season 3 of Malevolent Autopsy. I'm your host, Queen. I use she, her pronouns, and I am so excited to be here with you all. Now let me warn you, the show contains major spoilers for everything in Malevolent as of the date this episode is published, so if you're not caught up, I'm not liable. Before we get started tonight, or today, I'd like to ask my lovely co-host, what part of Arthur's body are you betting on getting injured this week?
Howdy, hello, Vol Control here. I use he, him pronouns, and this week I'm betting on Arthur's friends getting injured.
You're so mean and personally hate me.
Let's get into this chapter summary. Because, oh boy, it was a bit of a bummer to start with, but in this week's chapter, the penultimate chapter of the penultimate part of Malevolent, we finally reach the moment we were all afraid to hear, Faro's death. We chose to hold on, and hold on Arthur does. He won't let his little girl die alone this time. He steps into the tub and holds on. But before he can drown, he does finally let go, because he heard her voice. She said, "Not now," and, mysteriously, it has to be colder. Then John and Arthur are in the dark, and the lighter won't light. But they hear a familiar voice. Charlie's back! It's happening! He's at the threshold! Oh god! Oh no! Oh, we're in it now! Kane cuts our reunion short, and Charlie's back, Queen. Charlie's back. He's alive. It's really him. Okay, Kane cuts our reunion short and brings us to a theater. Benevolent is canon, actually, and he says he wouldn't be much of a host if he didn't give us the choice. Will we tell him about the other Nyarlathotep, or won't we? That's the vote this week. But more importantly, Charlie's back.
Oh my god. 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 Who cares? Who cares about any of this? Who cares? It doesn't matter. Nothing matters. It's all over.
We got Charlie. He's alive.
Oh my god. Who gives a shit about the vote? Charlie's alive. And everybody who said otherwise, eat that. Eat that.
I knew he'd be back. I never lost faith.
I had to be I'm still being so careful. I'm still not quite ready to believe that he's back. I'm ready to believe that he's alive, but I don't know that I believe he's going to be back the way that I would love to see him be back. Because if I don't get my hopes up, they can't be crushed.
No, exactly. It's a good life lesson, but it's also a great way to listen to Malevolent week to week is like, keep your expectations low. Don't, have a pet theory that you're gonna be upset about if it doesn't turn out that way. But I am just so excited, and shout out to what's that Tumblr account that's counting down the days since Charlie last appeared.
Oh my god, where's Charlie Doubt or something like that. There's a funny Tumblr blog that just posts about whether or not he's back in the narrative. It's not me. I will say right now, I don't
It's not.
I don't have any like funny Tumblr fandom accounts or anything. I don't have any Instagram or anything like that. So
it's not Queen's shadow account for legal purposes.
I don't have fandom specific social media. So that's none of the fun, cool stuff that you see online is me. I just do this. So yeah, I think we can end the podcast now because that's kind of all that mattered. I mean, that's pretty much what the whole point of this part was, right? Episode 59, Charlie Dad comes back.
I mean, we could talk about Charlie some more. I think we could probably talk about Charlie.
I could make a podcast about Charlie. I don't know about you. No, but there were so many good moments in this episode that had nothing to do with Charlie. I know that's like crazy to think that anything else happened, but it did. Specifically, a heartbreaking opening and sounds of drowning, terrifying.
Man, a haunting soundscape, and I think that we have talked a lot about the kind of inevitability of some level of child torture or child death on screen, and I think that our predictions were true, that Harlan found a way to make it both haunting, heart-wrenching, but with a level of tragedy that didn't veer into it wasn't too much, if you know
Yeah.
what I mean.
Yeah, no, I agree. And I I appreciate that Malevolent I've never felt like it's been excessive in terms of its
Yeah.
themes or horror elements or soundscaping. It's always been the perfect amount of horror. And I think it's listening to Malevolent has really raised my tolerance for horror. If you've been listening at all ever, you know I don't I don't do horror usually.
Yeah.
That has changed since listening to Malevolent, so gateway drug. But I'm still not super good at like the visuals of horror. Like I'm not good at watching like horror movies.
Yeah, I'm not big on horror movies either. I'm very particular about my horror movies and definitely veer more towards like dark comedies. And I would say that Malevolent has enough of a comedic thread that kind of rings true for Malevolent as well.
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
Because I mean, even in this episode, even while this heart-wrenching scene of Arthur holding his drowning child is happening, Kane's in the fucking peanut gallery behind him being
Oh
an
my God. I was
asshole.
saying when we were re-listening to the chapter just now, I picture Kane perched on the sink like a gargoyle, like with his hands between his feet perched on either side of the
Yep.
edge of the sink.
Yep. Yep. Yeah, and Roses of Envy in the chat said he's in the cabinet under the sink, and
God.
that just sent me.
He is in soundscaping. If you're listening in headphones, he is on one side and he kind of sounds higher up. And I did see Takeover Pie say on the shower head, which is haunting because what the fuck do you mean? What the fuck kind of shower head could he perch on? I hate that. I hate that.
But yeah, this episode was packed with so many different things that raised so many different questions that it was another episode that I walked out of being like, I am thinking so many thoughts that I can't even process all that just happened. You know,
Yeah.
usually I try to get in the chapter live drop channel and like say something nice about something I liked about it. This one I was like, my brain is mush, like so many things running through my head right now.
It was a small miracle that I didn't get 8 pings, but I did control F for my name in Discord. And so many people had just been like, where's Queen? Someone check on Queen. How's Queen doing? Which was very sweet. My entire like, I'm so glad that all of the really important stuff happened, like the really emotional stuff happened before Charlie got put back in, because my
Yes.
brain was fucking wiped. I had to listen to this chapter several times because I kept getting completely distracted by the fact that we could hear his voice and like trying to listen to what he was saying. And then I was like, oh, right, we have a vote and like a whole mention of benevolent canon and like Collins and the nosebleeds and like so much cool stuff. My brain just went, nope, the only thing that you need to care
Yep.
about is that man is somewhere waiting.
Oh man. Before we get into carrots and sticks, I have to share one more Charlie thought because it is the only thing that was going through my mind when Arthur and John are, vocalize their doubts that it's really Charlie, and Charlie says, "Oh God, oh my God," or "Oh God damn it." And all I could think of was his time in the Dreamlands and
Yeah.
how used to not trusting reality he must be, and how frustrating it must be to be on the other side of that.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah, I was definitely also thinking that pretty much immediately, that frustration of, I know how hard it's going to be to convince you because I was where you are. And to know that you are going to be doubting everything all the time and to know what it's like to feel that way and have to figure out a way around it. It was heartbreaking. And the fact that Charlie sounded, the way that he performed his voice sounding
Yeah.
so desperate, and the
Yeah.
fact that, and this is something else I pointed out, Charlie knows before Arthur gets yanked away in a way that makes me think somehow there's some kind of indicator where he would know, maybe a magical signature that he somehow has figured out how to pick up on. I don't know. But the fact that he started yelling threshold right when we needed him to do that, there's so much in that very short scene that implies so much about what he's been through, where he is, where he, like, what he and Kane have clearly fucking talked. Like,
Oh my god, to be a fly on the wall
oh
for
my
that
God,
conversation.
to be in the room where that shit happened, I would pay another entire Patreon tier 3 times the amount I'm paying now. Harlan dropped the Kane Charlie cut. I'm gonna need that.
We need it. We need it.
Oh my God.
Fanfic writers, get in the comments.
Yes. Someone tied me over. But Vol, speaking of tiding over, what was your carrot in fanfic?
Oh yeah, speaking of carrots.
Yeah.
Okay, so my carrot this week is really fucking stupid, and I'm gonna out myself as a fucking fanfic writer. My carrot this week was the fact that Kane mentioned seeing Collins as a lad in the nosebleeds at the opera, and I have 100% written that into my Collins headcanons, and so the fact that that's really canon made me really happy.
Yes, I love that. I love that. You write such good fanfic.
Thank you. I don't generally care if my headcanons get proven in canon. Like, that doesn't...
It's not a negative. It's only a positive.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I don't need proof, but when I do get, like, one or two little things right, obviously, it's like theorizing something and you get it right. But even better because it's, like, so inconsequential. Like,
oh, for sure. Yeah.
That detail doesn't matter.
No.
I don't even know why Kane said it other than to bring up Collins' name.
Yeah, I love that. And I think too that so much of the joy of creation is creation for a fandom rather than, you're building your own original world, is that it's such a small percentage of the time that you're ever going to get anything correct that hasn't already been released. And so when the statistics just tip slightly in your favor for something that is so like off the wall, out of nowhere, that's fucking amazing. I love that.
Yeah, and it does feel like confirmation, like I am reading the text correctly and I was able to extrapolate that this possibly could have happened in this character's past. And yeah, that's a really fun, nod that Harlan didn't realize he was giving me.
I love when Harlan writes things personally for you or for me and he has no idea.
Yeah, it's really great.
What about your stick?
Why does everyone keep throwing around threshold like it's a thing? Stop trying to make it a thing. Tell me what it is. You know what?
Threshold is a brand name.
Oh, it is. Isn't it like a home goods brand?
It is. It's a Threshold is a Target brand for their home goods. So
right.
And yeah, no statements here on Target, but I think it's really funny because at first, my first thought from having worked 4 years at Target, this was a long time ago, was, what do you mean Threshold? Like, what? That's a brand. Why would I? Why is that important right now? And then I went, oh, wait, no.
Oh, that's really funny.
Wait, no, Threshold. So.
Well, and one of the weird things is that I feel like in previous mentions of the Threshold, it's been the Threshold, which is the like natural way to use that word. But in this episode, it felt like they were just saying
it felt like it was a proper noun rather than just a place. Like, I don't know. It feels almost as though it's the difference between saying, like, I don't know. Maybe it just feels different because Charlie was running out of time to say it. But then didn't somebody else say it too? Yeah,
because I think Kane also said threshold without the And my crazy grackle theory that popped into my brain during our re-listen right before Autopsy, we know that we love these last-minute grackle theories. What if it's an anagram for something?
That's a long anagram.
No, not an acronym, an anagram. What if it's a different word if you mix the letters back up?
I'm not smart, friend. That's a good point. Yeah. Maybe has anyone unscrambled?
I don't know.
Interesting. I think that could be possible. I also feel like if I could rapidly do a re-listen of the entire series of Malevolent, I might be able to figure it out. I really feel like it's something that's being referenced that we should already know about, but that he knew that nobody would recognize because it was so long ago and such a small thing.
If nothing else, I do think it's going to reference a place that we have either been before or has been mentioned before.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think when we finally get the reveal, if we finally get the reveal, it's going to be one of those things where everyone's kind of smacking their foreheads going, oh, no shit. That's what it
Right,
was.
right, right.
Oh,
So, Queen, what was your carrot this week?
my carrot this week was the reappearance of a silly little guy, Kane, doing his weird goading of psych, psych.
Uh-huh.
It's Charlie. It's the fact that Charlie's alive. Oh my god. Oh my god. He's actually alive. Like for so
We heard his
long.
voice.
Yes, because there was no proof, like real proof, that he was actually going to be kept alive. I remember saying way back when there's absolutely no reason for them to have differentiated between exploding Collins's head and sending Charlie to Spain. Like,
Right.
there was no reason for that. He could have just blown up Charlie's
On-screen
head
death. It only counts if it's on screen.
Exactly.
And teleporting someone away while they're bleeding out doesn't count as on screen.
Exactly. And also, I also want to note, to my absolute delight, his voice is not fucked up, which means, because I really thought that he got shot in the throat for a voice-based reason, and that if he came back, we might not be able to hear him, or he would have like trouble speaking or something. But he sounds totally fine. Now, he sounds totally physically fine. Emotionally, mentally, spiritually, metaphorically, he sounds rough. And
my guy's not okay. My guy's not okay.
Would kill, again, I'm going to say it again, would kill to know what the fuck has been going on. What conversations has this man had with the crazy ass gods, and how does he act around them? And like, there's just so much to explore. I am not hopeful that he will continue to be a persistent character, because we only have one more episode of Malevolent left, by the way, and that would be a very short-lived moment. So maybe he's just a tool for a chapter or two, and then we'll probably leave him again forever.
I mean, I think that he has been woven throughout the narrative for so long.
Don't give me hope. Don't give me hope.
That's all I'm gonna say. I'm just gonna say he's been woven through the narrative for a long time.
I didn't start out as
take that how you will. Interpret that how you will.
I'm gonna address this because it's gonna get brought up until I address it, I think. I did not start out as somebody who cared about Noel. I patently thought he was an expendable character who would die very quickly, and I did not want to get attached to him, and I just didn't care, like, at all. This has changed, obviously, but there are screenshots and text floating around that you can search through and find me saying, I am one of the weirdos who does not care if Noel lives or dies in the first 30 seconds of the next part. So that was around...
There are receipts, unfortunately.
That was around, like, part
The
40.
internet is forever. The internet is forever.
Unfortunately, man. People are dedicated to pulling me down. I have since changed my mind. Obviously, it took me a while to figure out who I liked other than John and Arthur. To be honest with you, like, it was a journey to get here. But yeah, I think on so many occasions when everyone's like, who's your favorite character in Malevolent? I never even think about picking John and Arthur, because to me, main characters are a scapegoat. When you're talking about favorite character, everyone's favorite characters are John and Arthur. Like, yeah, it's very hard for me to understand how it's fair to compare two extremely fleshed out, full-bodied characters with arcs and lots of dialogue to someone like Noel, who has very little structure around his character right now, and it just doesn't feel equal to ask you to compare your favorites when one is so much less focused on. So for me, when it's like, who's your favorite character, disregarding John and Arthur for how much they have in their favor in terms of the narrative being about them, it's always going to be the most... Noel has exactly the right amount of content to appeal to me specifically.
Yes. I was just going to say, you and I are infamous for picking someone from the B cast, someone from the C cast, someone with no speaking lines in the first episode. So we always tend to gravitate towards our favorite side character. The main characters are great, but that, like you said, that goes without saying. So we have to pick our favorite, like, lesser character.
Yeah. And I think I get so much joy out of creating in fan spaces that, well, I get just so much joy out of I don't want to say creating. Out of, I guess, just chatting in fan spaces, in like playing with the ideas of things that are not in canon that could be explored further before they come out. So like when people write missing scenes and stuff like that, that's kind of where I like living. And so I love how little we have of Noel, really. Like, as much as I love him and I want him back, I also really cherish this time where we don't know a lot about him, really, because it's really fun to have a space to play in. That being said, I'm also the kind of fan who doesn't care if what, like you, doesn't care if what I came up with is canon or not. And it's actually gonna, as somebody who's been in a fandom where there was no canon content, I played in that space for years and years, and then canon came out. I'm experiencing that in real time, and it's not at all, like, it doesn't make me angry or frustrated or embarrassed or any of that. It's just kind of like, I've made my own thing over here and I'm enjoying it. And also, two cakes. Canon is really good too. So.
Yes. A shout out to the chat where other people are sharing their favorite side characters. Butcher, Parker, somebody said, Seer says Blinky. AK Trash Panda says Lorik. Yeah.
Good side characters that aren't Jarther.
And Lily. Yeah.
Oh, Lily. Yep. Yeah. The Buopoth or the nurse.
Right. and yeah, I think that it's really fun that everybody has their own special little guy.
I love that.
So, what was your stick this week, Queen?
I don't like some of John's dialogue. I don't like it one fucking bit. But in particular, I don't like John saying, "This isn't how it ends. This isn't how it needs to end." What does he know? What does he know? Or am I overthinking it and John's just saying deep shit for the moment? You know what I mean? Like, because I could totally see him saying that just to keep Arthur from killing himself. Right. That's the kind of thing that you could say offhand. But with how much we don't know about what happened between him and Yellow in the Dreamlands, and the way that he was acting as the king about Lilith, I don't know. I don't like that John is acting. I mean, you also have the section from last chapter where John forgot about the lighter, or seemingly forgot about the lighter, or maybe was trying to cover up. Like, we really don't know. So he's making a bunch of weird comments that I don't understand, and I don't like it.
I definitely am getting some of the similar vibes of, like, there is something that's not being said, or there's something that we as listeners are not privy to. And yeah, it's making some of us suspicious of fucking everyone. I mean, we've been suspicious of Kane from, like, the start of this part because he's hiding his face and like, he's just, there's some things that he knows that he shouldn't know, and then there's other things that there's a chance he could have heard but apparently didn't, and it's just like, what's going on? What's going on with everybody?
Well, yeah, I feel like there's so many small things that are adding up to a lot of suspicion at the very end here, where it's just a bunch of small comments or small actions or details that are being brought out that are putting everybody on edge. Because I know things like like the lighter not working. That's only, I think that's very rare to happen. I know that they really struggled with the lighter back in season 1 when they were, we were just listening to, or not season 1. Was it season 1? We were listening to a commentary track and Arthur had gotten the lighter wet, and so it was struggling to light.
Right. And that happened in the very beginning of season 5 when they got drenched in the rain on the way to the windmill.
Right. So, I mean, it's obvious if he jumped into a bathtub and was drowning, that it wouldn't light right away. But this, we always usually get a resolution. It does eventually light. So in this chapter, it does not do that.
And John, like, implied it was in the other pocket? What?
I'm so
Duh.
confused. But guess what?
So many. What?
In like less than 2 hours, we're going to be listening to the next fucking chapter.
Oh my god. Yeah, we are currently recording Autopsy on a Sunday due to scheduling, and in the early afternoon due to a live chapter drop.
An hour and 32 minutes from now, we will be listening to chapter 295, and I am thrilled.
Me too, me too. I can't wait to hear how this part wraps up. I'm so curious. What's gonna happen in the last 10, 15, 20 minutes?
Yeah, it's like you say, it's always a wild ride in those
Right.
last bits. Shall we get into the vote?
Let's do.
So the vote for this chapter was tell Kane about the manager versus do not tell Kane about the manager. With 492 votes cast, we are at a 95% lead for not telling Kane about the manager. So that's 5% for tell Kane about the manager. This has not been a close vote. In fact, I've barely even looked at the poll minds. Now, that's partially because I've been very busy, but
It was pretty clear cut.
it has stayed this way, and there's not
Yeah.
much to talk about.
No. I mean, honestly, like in the first 24 hours, I and a few other people were trying to kind of like rack our brains and figure out like what could possibly be the benefit or what would be the reasoning behind Arthur wanting to tell Kane about the manager. And the only thing that I could come up with was like, well, if we're more suspicious of the manager's intentions than we are of Kane's. But on the other hand, Kane has just literally told us this very part, like, I haven't lied to you. I've been honest. So I guess we can probably trust Kane's intentions more so.
To me, it's totally the devil you know. Like, do
Yeah.
we take a chance and bet on the manager, or do we stick with what we know the threat is, which is Kane? And I am voting do not tell Kane about the manager, but what about you?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm voting don't tell Kane about the manager.
And I think I'm going to try and make a case for tell Kane about the manager just because it is the underdog here. And I will just say, like, I could totally see, like I said, kind of sticking with a known evil rather than, what smarter thing to do than to use the pawn to take out the other one. And
Right.
if the manager is positioning Arthur to take out Kane just so he can execute on what Kane was going to do anyway, and but instead he'll be the last surviving one who gets to reap the benefits of reshaping the world, that kind of thing, that could be a possibility. I also think there's a good case to be made for the idea that Arthur having to make this decision, giving some credence to the fact that maybe there's a good reason we should tell him about the manager. I think it's partially to do with the idea that you could say Arthur is human, and can he handle the consequences of telling Kane no? Is he going to be able to make it through what I honestly think might be Charlie death, Charlie torture?
Right. No, that's a really good way to put it too. And people in the chat are saying that the thing that convinced them was thinking about what Charlie would want Arthur to do and how Charlie would be pissed if Arthur told Kane.
Yeah, well, none of these men have a good sense of self-preservation, so I kind of don't care.
That's true.
I kind of don't give a shit what you want, Charlie, because you die for Arthur. You already pretty much did. And I don't want that.
I think that I guess I'm not too surprised that you didn't have more conflict this week when Charlie's fate is very much in the balance. But I think we all knew what felt like the obvious answer.
It's funny, everyone, this is something that I find really amusing about the way that I react to things. Everyone kind of knew that I was going to vote for telling Kane because I wanted to protect Charlie. And the minute I that is truly was not ever going to be my vote. But the minute I read people
No.
saying that, I was like, fuck you. I'm not going to do that. Like, I know what's important. I can sacrifice my blurbo for the narrative. I'm
Yeah.
strong. I'm a big girl. Like
Yeah.
I'll do it. And it really was funny to have people convinced that I would be in the poll mines and like arguing for the other side. But I am a very pragmatic voter.
Yeah, no, you are a very pragmatic voter, even if you have a little bit of a freak out about the fact that there's going to be consequences for what the pragmatic vote answer is. But that doesn't sway you. You know what feels like the right direction most of the time.
There's a plan, and I'm gonna follow the plan.
That's true.
And I
The
hope
sacred
everyone's
plan.
imagining capital T, capital P, the plan, because that's what it
Yes.
is. And really, I'm not good at like, it takes a really specific kind of vote to make me start talking about the emotional aspect of like wanting for my personal preferences to see or experience a specific character. I think the last time I felt really strongly about I don't care about the plot, I just want this character was during the Collins votes in the Dark World. I was very vocal about like, nope, I don't care. I want to get as much Collins screen time as possible.
Yeah, yeah.
It's very rare that I do that. And this isn't one of those times because I think people are right in that saying that Charlie would be really mad if we went back on the deal to save him, just to save him, or for any kind of reassurance of his life. Of course, what he quote unquote what he would want would be to be sacrificed for the greater good. Like that's just the kind of characters he seems like. But that, as much as I agree with that, it does not factor into my vote. For me, it's purely just this is obviously like, no, we're not gonna tell the bad guy our plan. What do you like? Why at this juncture, this late in the narrative, would I do that? Give me a good reason, because I don't have one.
The only reason I could imagine is to see how that plays out, but the stakes are too high. And I feel like Kane even said like, "Oh yeah, your fuck you speech landed." So like why would we undo that?
And he knows that. He knows
Yeah.
we're not going to give in. I think Kane, I truly think there's something wrong with him, that the obelisk or something
Yeah.
has not the obelisk, the Blackstone or something has fucked with him, because he's doing a lot of negotiating when he does not
Yeah.
have to.
Well, that was the other thing is like I think that the vote is less interesting than the context of the vote, which is Kane feeling compelled to even ask
Yeah.
John and Arthur to consider it. Like it's almost like a formality. Like what kind of host would I be if I didn't give you the chance?
That's totally bluffing.
Choices,
That is totally
Arthur.
bluffing. Kane is hiding the
Oh,
fact
it's
that
so interesting.
I think Kane is hiding the fact that something's happened to him, or that something has mitigated his power in some way, or that something's going on where he's learned he needs to keep Arthur alive and willing, because
Mm-hmm.
there's no Kane is a performer, but at this stage in the plot, it does not feel like this is just him being silly and whimsical and like a crazy villain. This feels like desperation.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there is definitely an air of not playing with his food. There's something very pointed about, especially at this stage, at this juncture of their conversation. And I'm just really curious. I'm really curious.
I can't wait. I'm so excited for this hour and a half to be over.
I know, right?
What about, I mean, did you have any, like, can you think of any good reason we should tell the manager?
Tell Kane about the manager?
Yeah.
I mean, like I said, the only good reason that I could think of, other than trying to save Arthur's friends and loved ones, which is a very short-sighted reason, because if Kane manages to pull off his plan, then all those people are gonna die, or, well, maybe not. I mean, Kane said, like, oh, I'll give you your
Hey, his
own
odds are better.
planet.
His odds are better than a coin flip. Like, maybe
Right.
we're on the wrong side of history after all, guys.
But the only thing I could think of was like I- if you flip the devil that you know on its head, like we know what Kane's gonna do, we don't know what the manager is gonna do.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so telling him about the manager, I don't know.
Fractals says, yes, why isn't he angry that Arthur's alive? That's something that I'm really curious about too, because I really expected Kane to talk about that, and he didn't.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, that is like one of the most suspicious things is the fact that Kane isn't surprised that Arthur's alive, didn't make any comment about that, didn't seem even like rushed or anything to get to Arthur.
I expected him to at least make a comment about Arthur being a cockroach or something. Like
Yeah,
anything, but he
right.
really hasn't mentioned it at all.
Which makes me wonder if this really is Kane. I'm still not sure.
Everything is weird and crazy and confusing.
That's the end game, baby.
Maybe it's Lilith.
Pretending to be Kane?
Yes, maybe it's Lilith because Lilith left to go find clothes, quote unquote, and then we never saw her again. And he's hiding his face, and that might be a testament to the fact that Lilith is she can we just saw her shape-shifting bodies when she was
Yeah.
trying to give the necklace over to the traitor.
Well, not only that, I mean, she even did it. Did she do it in Larson's body?
Yes, she went into her like regular Lilith form
Right.
and said hi and then went back to Larson. But
Right.
maybe his face has to be hidden because she can't sustain that form for long enough for it to be convincing as a Kane performance the entire way through.
Or she just fucking hates her dad so much. She's like, I'm not doing the face.
I'm not doing the face.
I'm not fucking doing the face.
I love that. And
Pie in the chat mentions that Lilith said that Kane would be stuffed, and Kane has said he's ravenous.
yeah, and
Interesting.
And I do think that I don't know, because it's a pretty convincing Kane, but there are some things missing, like the fact that he's not commenting on Arthur's state of being, the fact that he is feeling like he needs to negotiate so much, and like bringing him to the set of Benevolent. Why?
Well, and without like and being coy about the details of that.
Yeah.
Like I mean, it's kind of a funny like tongue-in-cheek joke,
Right.
but
It's kind of a lot to go through for a joke.
yeah. And it seemed like some of Kane's laughs have been off. There's just a lot of little things that are just like a little step to the left off.
Dude, and like the most important thing to me is if it's Kane and it's just Kane being Kane, or there is something wrong with him, which I kind of think is, I'm putting my bets on something being wrong with him. If it is Kane,
I think that's such a good bet. I love that
I'll
bet.
be thrilled.
I want that to be right.
If it's not Kane and it's in fact Lilith, I think that would be interesting. I would be very intrigued to see how that goes down. But the point is, like, regardless, I'm just so invested in what's happening right now that it feels like all of these potential answers and all of the potential theorizing is so different at the very end game, where it's almost like that's a secondary issue for me. Normally,
Yeah.
like, enjoying fandom is a lot of theorizing and a lot of excitement around what's going to happen next. But this for me more feels like a way to just talk myself in circles until the next chapter drops, and I don't actually care about what I'm saying because I just need the next chapter to drop.
Yes. Yes. Well, if you're done talking yourself into circles, we could hear from a few other listeners.
Let's do that. Would you like to read this one, or should I?
I can read it.
Go for it, my friend.
Our first submission today is an email from a frequent emailer. Hi, Autopsy. It's Fractals. A uses AM and its pronouns. There's definitely something going on with the lighter, right? The fact that it can't light is deeply troubling, and why did John think it was in the other pocket? Is this Kane's doing? Has he swapped out the lighter or placed a decoy on Arthur? But then why would he make it unable to light? Or is Arthur doing something? He knows better than to talk out loud at this point because Kane is listening in, so he could very well have more information that we don't know. But how would he get a decoy lighter? Or make it so that the current one can't light? And why can Cain now perceive the lighter? He lived Arthur's life and has heard them talk about it before and didn't know it existed, and yet now he knows about it. Something strange is going on here, and I'm looking forward to seeing where it's going. Bye!
Thank you, Fractals, for your submission. It's interesting that you say, has he swapped out the lighter? Because I think if he had swapped out the lighter, that would put the real lighter on him, which is not something he wants to do.
Oh, that's true. That's true.
So I think this is
But
the real lighter, but I do think that he, like, something got fucked up with it.
but you do make a good point that can Cain now perceive? Well, I guess Cain is aware of the lighter and the fact that Arthur wants to put it on him in a way that he has not been previously.
Pi says Cain said he needed to know what it did first, not that Arthur wouldn't put it on him. And what I meant was Arthur hasn't told him what it
Hmm.
does, so he wouldn't want it on him yet.
Hmm.
But
Hmm.
but yeah, I mean, I think I think really Cain, it's funny because we don't really know what Cain perceiving the lighter really means. He could just be
Yeah.
saying it because he knows it exists and he knows that it's a lighter and he knows what it is, but he can't actually physically see it, maybe.
Yeah.
Or it could be the opposite where it's just a lighter and to him it's, nothing, but now he knows it's an artifact of some kind and is referring to it. But we do have evidence that maybe he physically can't see it because he goes through Arthur's inventory and the lighter is not in there way back in earlier seasons. So I don't know. I think he's just referring to the lighter. I don't think he can see it, is my point. I think he just knows it exists.
I don't know what's going on with the lighter, but there's definitely something going on, and I really hope we get an answer to what the fuck is going on with the lighter by the end of this
I
part.
wonder if it has something to do with it has to be colder.
I wonder.
I don't know. Interesting shit.
Many things to think about.
Hi guys, this is Friska Friskito, she, her. Hello! So, as far as my vote goes, I voted to not tell Kane where the manager is, and that seems to be the majority vote. But my concern is less the vote itself and why it was given. I don't like the specific request of Kane asking Arthur and John to at least consider it, because that choice was never given to us in the first place. We did have to consider it in order to make the decision. So, I am not sure why Kane asked that. I'm not gonna, assume that Kane can read minds, but at the very least he can hear Arthur and John, so... I don't know, it's ringing alarm bells in my mind.
Thank you, Friska, for your lovely submission. And yes, I think it's also very interesting that he's asked, like Val said earlier, why give us the choice?
Yeah, it's definitely giving off alarm bells, and people in the chat are saying he wants Arthur to come willingly. And that does feel kind of within the theme of the intention of him asking for clarification, I guess. Like, I need you to say it. I just need you to say it in so many words.
I
Hmm.
wonder if I wonder if it's there's so many factors we just don't know about. And so my brain just buzzes with maybe it's necessary for his ability to kill Azathoth. Maybe it's necessary to have Arthur consent to something, or maybe it's part of a ritual of some kind. I mean, there's truly so many options there. But I think Cain is at the point where I think it's kind of common sense to a smart god that torture isn't necessarily going to work as well as anything else. Like, I think that I mean I would assume that gods have observed humans, the way that Lilith describes, long enough to understand that yeah, torturing and threatening can be scary and get you results, but long term it's probably not the route you want to go. At least not the kind of torture that Cain seems to be interested in.
Well, and especially because if we have gods on the board, we also have heroes and people who are willing to sacrifice themselves and the things that they care about for the greater good. And I think that the gods have to recognize that there will be those outliers.
Yeah, well, and they always think they're more powerful than they really are, and they have such a different. I mean, that this is what Malevolent is partially about, where,
Hmm.
yes, humans have a finite life, but that kind of is what makes us so different and so
Right.
powerful, is that we have the will to keep going, and in a way that gods just don't. And I feel like Lilith and Cain are smart enough to understand that on a certain level. It will truly be Kane's downfall if he thinks that threatening to torture Arthur forever is gonna make him change his mind. I just have a
Right.
feeling that's not gonna. He knows that's not gonna work.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think so, and I think him dangling this like perfect could be fantasy life in front of Arthur, maybe that was a test to see, like, will he be swayed by some sort of reprieve from all this suffering, and to will happiness convince him to let me go through with my crazy selfish plan.
I'm saying, man, we don't know. Look, I have to say, if I can't see where a villain's coming from, I don't usually think they're a very good villain. But man, if Kane's wager really has good odds as he's saying, and his whole thing is, I'm gonna make the world better. It's just that I have to, like, we're not 100% sure that it won't all just end. Maybe he's the one that's doing the right thing. I don't know.
I don't know.
I don't know.
I don't know.
Pi, she, her. She's spoken to me before. Back in Coda, before Arthur had even pulled himself from the snow, he heard a child's voice. You're going to die. She was what brought him back to reality. What pulled him from freezing to death in the snow. And now, not now, she said it has to be colder. Why, Addison? Why come back so near to that cabin? And why has Cain given him that coin again? Why does he want to see it land on a different side? Does getting a different answer to the same question indicate that Lilith's wager isn't going to pay off? What exactly is she betting on? Arthur now only carries 3 items with or within him. The lighter from the manager, intended as a target setter. The stone from Lilith, used to pull the fractured soul of the king back into Arthur's head. And the coin. The item that back in the record heat summer of 1921 was what was used to bind Shubna Groth in mortal flesh. And kill her. Why those 3 items? What direction will they pull him in?
Hey, thanks, Pi. What the fuck?
We already had so many questions. Now I have so many more questions. My brain's not big enough for all these questions.
Okay, what if, and this just occurred to me, it's probably so wrong. I'm so sorry to future me. What if the stone was not necessary for John to rejoin Arthur?
Okay.
What if Lilith could have done that shit without that stone, and she did something else to that stone and put it in Arthur? Because
Are you leaning toward the Arthur as a vessel theory?
I might be. The thing is that I don't know if Arthur as a vessel so much as Arthur as a weapon.
Or yeah. Or like an anchor or something.
Yeah, something that can't be, either something that can't be harmed, something that is kind of like immune to certain things. I just keep getting this feeling that we've never been given the straight answer of why Arthur. We've gotten the flowery answer from Lorik, but we've never really understood any of Arthur's backstory beyond what he's told us, and we still don't even know the connection between Lilith and his parents. There's so many things that never got answered, and I think it's left us in this place of everything that's happening now feels like it could be connected to one of the many unraveled threads that have not been addressed yet, if ever. I mean, I will say this. I hope that Malevolent season 6 doesn't end with every question answered. I don't think that stories are meant to wrap up neatly that way. I like it when endings are solid, but not everything was addressed. And I think that's going to be a Malevolent thing. I think they're going to not have answers to some of these things. And that's not a complaint at all. I think that's a good thing.
No, I mean, not every question needs answering, especially with the nature of the show. There are certain plot threads that if we had gone in that direction, there would be more answers. But because we didn't go in that direction and the story didn't focus on that, then yeah, there are some unanswered questions there. But I agree that I think it'll be interesting to see what questions do get answered. And as far as what Pi was saying, I forgot that coin was used to bind Shub-Niggurath and kill her. And Pi further elaborates in the chat that these three things are all like general vessel related, and that they think that it's gonna be like holding three magnets that repel each other and they're going to rip Arthur apart or Cain apart.
Well, this is so unlike me, but if I can be honest, the reason I don't think that stone might have been totally necessary for John to get in Arthur's body is because that stone can't be in there permanently, which is gross. So Lilith must have known, thinking logistically, if that stone is pulled out of Arthur's body, like, let's just say Cain opens up his stomach and grabs the stone out of it. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it can't stay in there forever. So I don't know that I believe that John is tied to that stone and the stone in Arthur's body means they're connected. I think...
You think he's gonna pass the John stone?
I'm not saying that he will. I'm just saying that human bodies are not equipped to accommodate rocks.
But he's a tree body now. Don't forget. So, he was birthed out of a tree, Queen.
I just think it would be interesting if it wasn't, because it seems like such a temporary solution. So there's a permanent rock in his stomach now. Do you know what that's going to do gastrointestinally? Like, that's...
Oh my God.
That's going to be a nightmare. And what if later down the line in his regular human life, he has to get his gallbladder removed? How are you going to explain there's a rock in there and you can't take it out because it holds my best friend in it? Like...
Oh, I guess all of his scars are gone now. I was going to say, he's going to have a lot more explaining to do if he has to go.
He can go to the doctor without consequence now.
Except for the rock in his stomach.
Except for the rock, which he's going to have to tell him to leave in. When you open me up, there's going to be a rock in my stomach, and I can't have you taking that out because there's a guy in my head, and he's actually tied to the rock. Yes, it's causing me crippling digestive tract issues, but I just need you to leave it in there. Thanks.
Queen, I love you so much, but sometimes your pragmatism reaches new heights, and I just... I'm like, oh, that's where you draw the line of realism. It was the rock that Arthur swallowed, not the eldritch, the fragment of an eldritch entity that got put back in Arthur's head.
Oh, because he didn't need a rock to be in his head in the first place. He just needed to read from a book. Why didn't Lilith just have him read from a book again? Or like
he can't read anymore.
That's true. Well, yes, he could. He could see for a brief minute there.
No, Tree Arthur can't read.
Oh, okay. Got it. It's a literacy issue. Got it.
He can't read anymore.
Well, I just think it was such a short-sighted way to put John back in the body. It's not gonna, if it stays there, it's gonna cause problems. If it doesn't stay there, we're saying goodbye to John again in like 7 to 10 business days, probably. And like, and like, I just can't help but feel like that's a sign that maybe it wasn't necessary and that Lilith was having them do it for a different reason. Or maybe
okay, yeah, bringing it back to the point.
She put another
it doesn't have to do,
rock.
right, it doesn't have to do with John. It has to do with having that rock in Arthur.
Yes.
I guess we'll find out.
I guess that's, I think I've run out of things to say when I'm reduced to making digestive jokes, which I don't do. Let's see what happens next in an hour and 2 minutes.
Is everybody shaking in their boots?
I'm so excited. Okay, let's go.
I think we're all vibrating.
Let's go be excited for an hour about chapter 295. Thank you guys so much for joining us. I really appreciate it. Bye, everybody.
Thanks, everybody. We'll see you at the drop.
See you at the drop. Thank you, of course, to Harlan Guthrie, the sole creator of Malevolent. Without his labor of love for a story he wants to tell, we wouldn't be here. To join the live recording, submit your own message, get in touch with me, and more, visit linktree/Malevolent Autopsy. The official Invictus Discord server is open to the public and includes a channel just for Malevolent Autopsy fans. We also have our own private, patrons-only channel. Finally, thank you to Mizra, Nikki, Vol Control, and everyone who has helped create and maintain Malevolent Autopsy. These friends are also volunteers who donate time and energy to help put together this love letter to Malevolent. Remember, in the end, it's never about certainty. It's about making a choice and moving forward. Until next time, the horrors persist.
But so do we.